Hello, my name is Nick Pert. I'm a chess grandmaster from England. My career highlights include winning the World Under-18 Championships and the British Chess Championships. I'm actually presenting a video course here on revealing Modern Grandmaster Secrets. I've broken the course down into many different themes, and each theme will have examples, and then there will be an interactive section for the viewer to have a go for themselves. So one of the themes which I've chosen is on opening preparation. I've looked at a few different openings and tried to give you some idea how you could maybe search for novelties or strong ideas of your own to try to catch out your opponent. Whilst I was watching some online commentary by world number one Magnus Carlsen, he was commentating on a chess match being played by Alexander Grischuk. And he mentioned in the commentary that Alexander Grischuk actually spent 1 hour and 20 minutes setting a trap for his opponent, Levon Aronian. Both of them are very strong grandmasters. At the time, there was this led to his colleagues being quite amused that somebody could sit there and think for 1 hour 20 minutes on a position which was already part of his preparation. But I'm sure that the idea was to try to catch out his opponent and maybe lull him into a false sense of security. Anyway, having watched this commentary, I decided to take a look at the game. So I've actually found the game in question and I'm going to present it here. And let's just see what Alexander Grischuk was contemplating. So he opened with the move c4, an English opening, and his opponent, Levon Aronian, responded knight f6. Knight c3 and e6. Now presumably black's intention was to go for a Nimzo Indian, so if white now plays d4, well, there are of course many other options here, but the Nimzo Indian is a very reliable one. In order to avoid this, Alexander Grischuk chose the move order 3e4, and this is a slightly tricky move order because white is threatening to take over control of the whole centre. Black responded with the move d5. The other main line here is c5, after which play might continue e5, knight g8, knight f3, knight c6 and d4. And there's a lot of theory involved in that line, so I won't go into too much detail right here. So black played the move pawn d5 and white continued with e5. Now black has to fight fire with fire in this position. If he drops back, say a move like knight fd7, then white can capture on d5, knight takes e5 and d4, and white has got a slight advantage in this position. So after e5, Aronian played the move pawn d4, counter-attacking the white knight on c3. White captured on f6 and black captured on c3. Now black isn't losing a pawn here because if white captures the pawn on g7, black can take on d2 with check. White has to respond either with the bishop or the queen, and black can regain his pawn. So after d takes c3, Grischuk continued b takes c3, queen takes f6 was played. If black takes with the pawn, then he's going to have some issues around king safety in the future. So queen takes f6 is more popular, and now white takes over the centre with a move pawn to d4. There are two main moves here, either c5 or e5. Aronian chose the move pawn e5, and white now responded knight f3. So in this position here, black's most popular continuation is e takes d4, and after bishop g5, queen e6 check, bishop e2, we're in for quite a complicated game. Black has several options at this point, but instead Aronian chose to move knight c6, which is also a very respectable move. If black doesn't challenge the centre, if black plays a move such as knight d7 here, then I think after bishop d3, white has a very comfortable position. So knight f3, knight c6, and white continues development with bishop g5. Black responds queen to g6. And in this position, white plays the move pawn d5. I just want to quickly highlight that if white plays bishop d3 at this point, then black can react with the move pawn e4. And after queen e2, black can play f5, and white actually has quite a bad position here because all these pieces are vulnerable and black has a stronghold in the center. So just wanted to highlight that after bishop d3, e4 was very much the strongest continuation at that point. White continued with the move d5, and after knight to b8, Grishuk now plays the move pawn h4. It's also worth considering that if white plays bishop d3 at this point, e4 is still the strongest move. There are some quite interesting lines after bishop takes e4, queen takes e4 check, and king d2. White's trying to get some play in the center, and this is quite messy, but yet again e4 is the strongest response to the move bishop d3. So Grishuk played h4, and now the main move in this position for black is to play pawn h6. After h6, white might continue with a move like h5, for example, and then black can move his queen away, queen d6, and white will have to address his bishop. And there was a game, in fact, which Aronian played himself and won with black against Peter Svidler in this line. However, in the game, rather than playing h6, Aronian chose this move knight d7. I just wanted to highlight one more thing. If after pawn h6, white now continues with the move bishop d3, this is actually not the best move. Black is now advised to play pawn e4. And after h5, if black wants, he can actually choose between queen f5 or queen a6. For example, queen a6, and white has got three pieces on pre here. Bishop h4, e takes d3, castles, and it's quite complicated. White does have some compensation for the lost piece, but objectively black is probably slightly better in this variation. So Aronian plays knight d7, and here Grishuk plays a move bishop d3. Now we've seen in all the previous positions bishop d3 is best answered by e4, but here in fact e4 is a mistake. Black actually doesn't have a great position. Perhaps knight d7 isn't the best move, but certainly if he plays a move like queen d6, he's not in any immediate danger. Perhaps white is slightly better here, but the game goes on. So it's very possible that Grishuk spent quite a long time playing this move in the hope of inducing his opponent into responding with the move pawn e4. And this is a little bit of psychology involved. White now plays h5. After h5, it's still not too late for black to abandon the e4 pawn and play a move such as queen a6. After bishop takes e4, h6, bishop h4, maybe bishop d6, for example, or queen takes c4, although that does give white some initiative. Okay, white's better, but the game is still far from over and black can fight on. After h5, however, Aronian continued with the move queen f5. So white's plan of maybe taking his time has worked. Black has played straight into the trap, and now white has the killer blow, rook h4. And this is quite unfortunate for black. If black tries to defend the e-pawn, for example, knight to c5, then white can simply capture on e4, and after knight takes e4, queen e2, white will regain the piece with a very strong attack. After rook h4, Aronian now continues e takes d3. He can't take the knight because then he'll lose his queen. E takes d3, and the main point is that white can now play the move rook f4, and black's queen is trapped. And white had a decisive advantage out of the opening and went on to win. So this is quite a nice idea, taking his time, and he's kind of lulling his opponent into a little bit of a false sense of security. There are several other examples I've given in different openings which you might be able to use, but also just the general principle of how you might look for opening ideas to try and catch out your opponent. I've also covered several middle game ideas, attacking, defending, endgames, positional chess. So there's lots in there, how to defend, hopefully something for everyone. It's a two-part series, so there's a lot of information there, a lot of very up-to-date classic games, and lots of new ideas as well. Hopefully it'll give you an overall course that will improve all parts of your game, not just focusing on one part of the game. So I hope that you find it useful, and if you are interested, then please, you're very welcome to purchase the course, and hopefully it will do something to improve your chess.